Grand Rising, Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. Sophie the is it Bodhi? Bodhi?
Sophia the Body.
Oh,
I had to
Sophia. Okay. Yeah,
Sophia the Body. Yeah, I had to
the
take on a
body.
new name. Yeah, like Buffy the Body, but it's really a Bodhi, like Bodhi the
Bodhi. Okay.
Bodhisattva, which is an enlightened one and the whole embodiment of who we who you are, who we are as people, and it's a Buddhist term, bodhisattva. At least I think that's how it's pronounced. That's how I pronounce it. I don't know all of this stuff, but it's really about becoming embodied in your own body. And so, yeah, the word came down that I had to change my name. So here we are.
Nice. That's awesome. It's
Not
exciting.
really.
Not
No,
really.
it's no. As someone who has been through this a few times, every time I change my name, there's a huge shift. Like the energy has really, really shifted. And I actually like got, the nudge to change my name last week, but I was like, well, what am I going to change it to? I'm going to be a CD. I don't want to be a CD. I don't like that name because I had done a video talking about the Cedar Bogar and the eight perfections, which are the CDs. And so I had made a video, extremely long video called Demonstrating 3D Mastery, in which I describe each one of these CDs, which is like a spiritual attainment, and how we had basically just like mastered it. Not like a little bit, but like like in exquisite detail. That's before I even got to the calendar. This was at the beginning of 2024. I was like, oh, well, let me just document how we can do all of this stuff. So really, I should have changed my name then, but I've just been procrastinating because I just know what comes with it. It's never okay, you're going to change your name and then you're going to go on and do something, that makes sense. It's like, no, you're going to change your name. It's going to be something totally irrational. So yeah, like Sophia the Body, like that is when I said it to my friend, she was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you don't know Buffy the Body? Like she's like a video model. And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, okay, well, it's only people of a certain age, I guess, that will understand the reference, but I don't even know what to say. Like that's just I'm really not looking forward to it. But I am looking forward to having this conversation because I really want to talk about this enchanting thing. I think it's really exciting, the direction we're headed with this.
Yeah, for sure. I think I've definitely been very diving deep heavily into the magic side, which I think that at least my interpretation of um just enchanting and enchantment is very heavily tied to magic, um, in terms of like enchanting things and I'm sure we'll get more clarity from you in terms of really what this means. But um, and what I've realized is that at least the magic that I'm currently getting exposed to, and by no means am I consciously aware of magic, so I'm becoming aware of it now. But and through your help, like I've been working with the Olympians very heavily. It's like every week, every
Mm-hmm.
day that passes, I'm out here, they're making themselves known. I'm doing offerings
Yep.
after offerings after offerings. Like it's
Yep.
it's really has accelerated intensely, and our discussions have helped significantly in terms of gaining clarity of what's the direction, what's the focus. Now that I
Right.
have become aware of the ability to communicate with them, the ability to really
Right.
consciously build a relationship with them. And I think what we've talked about in the past, where it's like they were misled somehow, some way by the wicked, by, they were in many ways almost taken hostage. And I think partly a reason for that is because the quote unquote good guys, the good people, they almost, I feel like lost their way in engaging with the gods and the goddesses. And so something has shifted where now the good guys have like woken up again, and I think are finding how to properly connect with the gods and goddesses, or maybe just God allowed the shift to take place where I can feel that they've been very desperate to work with us, but just in particular from my experience, to work with me. It's like it's like when you have a hot girl having to deal with some really annoying rich guy, and she's only with him because
Yeah,
it's like, oh well, he's got some money and like he's taking me out to the club, to a nice restaurant, but she can't stand him. She
right,
cannot deal with him because it's just a guy that is just not it. And then
right,
she meets a guy who does not have the money, is not at that level, at least financially, or just resources wise, but he's got everything else put together. He's like exactly what she wants. And so it's like the goddesses and the gods have been in this weird relationship with the wicked, but they don't want them. They're not, and then they're looking at
exactly.
us and
Nobody
they're
wants
like,
to be
I want to be with you guys. Like, I want, like, talk to me, work with me, like let's work
right.
together because I can't stand those other people.
Yeah, nobody wants to be around those. Listen, I was I was literally on an island by myself 3 years ago, and I said these demons or whatever you call them, these negatively oriented spirits, don't want to work with these people anymore. They don't like them. They don't want to be around them. They don't want to have anything to do with them because they are causing them to break the cosmic law. When you break, this is something that people really don't like understand. When you break the cosmic law, like and maybe we should do a talk about the 33 cosmic laws at some point. But when you break the cosmic law, like if you like break those rules, it's really really difficult to maintain your power because you are literally like basically disconnecting yourself piece by piece from the creator. Um, and basically, I think what you're saying is absolutely correct. These different entities have been lied to about who was who. This is also something I've been saying for 3 years. These people, um, whoever these quote unquote wicked people are, which we can pretty much be assured that they were the priest class and the wicked king class. The wicked priests and the wicked kings working together. They have been LARPing in the energy of the pure ones. And the way that they were doing this, I described briefly in another one of our talks. But basically, they collected all the information they could about us: names, dates, birthdays, birthplaces, hair, skin, nails, teeth, whatever they could collect of pure vessels, pure humans. And they were basically using that information to cloak themselves in our energy so that they could get what we were supposed to be getting. And so I first talked, not at first, but one of the major like points when I realized that that was going on was with the cancellation of the dumb diverses. Because in the dumb diverses, it literally said for Peter and Paul to accept all the people who were murdering, raping, killing, stealing under the banner of the dumb diverses, specifically for them when they entered heaven, for them to be treated as a newborn, as a, because in the Catholic and in the Orthodox, typically newborns get baptized, and so it literally said to treat them as if they were a newborn when they got to the gates. So you have these very horrible killers getting to the gates and saying, all right, Paul, Peter, go ahead, open them gates for us. And Peter and Paul are like, but you wiped out 1,000 people. You raped 10,000 women. Yeah. Look me up. Look me up. And they look the name up and it's like, oh, I don't know where it went. Like it just poof disappeared. And so canceling the dumb diverses is what allowed the general like spirits to be free, because we unbound the Holy Spirit. So the Holy Spirit had been bound up in this too, based on the language of the dumb diverses. And so we canceled a bunch of other contracts, but it didn't. Me personally, I'm looking for results, okay? And I don't like, a lot of people are satisfied with getting things for themselves. I'm not satisfied with that. I want to, it's not me I want to see the results for. It's for the people who come to me with a problem and I give them a solution and the solution doesn't work. Those are the people I have. That's what motivates me. Like when I give someone advice, I need to be assured that it works, because why else would they come to me? And so I had made a short video yesterday freeing all of these so-called watchers, because we started looking into the story in the book of Enoch, and then there's a book of watchers and all of this stuff, and the math wasn't mathing. Because how is it that you can have some individuals who are supposedly taking on all the sins of all humanity, specifically Azazel, and somehow like they can never be allowed to reconvene with the creator again? Like that's against the rules, because in the Bible, it's actually in the Jesus says that nothing can separate us from our God, but there's actually in the scale of 13, which is our victory and jubilee scale, there's 13 different mercies that God offers humanity through Moses. So when Moses went back up to the mountain to get another set of tablets, because people don't even, they don't even understand that when Moses broke the first set of tablets, he went back up and got another set of tablets. But also, God gave Moses a list of 13 different mercies that he um allowed. And so in Mark, Jesus talks about 13 different ways you defile your body. And so if you put these things together, like I did last night in my little video, then you have a way for dealing with certain things that happen. So for example, what is related to Aries energy is evil thoughts. So before you have an evil thought, God, he gave you compassion before you sin. So even though he knows we're going to have evil thoughts, like it's not a question of when will you have an evil thought. Like he knows you're going to have evil thoughts. So before he gave you the evil thought, he gave you the compassion. So this is where, again, this is where the whole separation comes in, because if you believe you are separated from your creator, and that is what was done to these watchers, they were forcibly separated from the creator. Now, if you've been forcibly separated from the creator, made to believe that there is a difference between you and the one who created you, then you are basically in hell. And so that is what has been happening on this planet. It has been manifesting as literal hell on earth. And that's what some people, I would call it the anti-creator. That's what the, or destroyer, that's probably the best way to describe. That's what the destroyer wants. He wants hell on earth because he operates in the realm of destruction. And if things aren't being destroyed, then he's not happy, because if things are being created, it somehow, like, I guess, takes away from his capacity to destroy. I don't know. Like, I just said that out of my mouth, so I'm gonna have to go back and research that um later. But this is what happens. Like, you cannot, there's no possible way for any living entity or dead or AI or anything else to be separated from the thing that created it, no matter what it is. It is only you who decides that you're going to be separated from the creator. So if you decide that, like, for example, with the watchers, what did they do? Instead of going to, they realized that they could no longer get to quote unquote heaven. Now, that's a whole nother, like, separate issue that I have to still flesh out a little bit, because I think that they were just literally lied to. Like, heaven is an evolving place. So like, if you think that heaven is at this day and this time and this location and this space, right? And all of a sudden they change the days, again, they change the calendar with their technology, then you're going to a particular date, time, place, location, looking for your interest back into the upper realms, and it's not available to you because, again, the calendar, they changed the calendar, they changed the markers that you would use to be able to determine these things. So the Azazel, as the, or Sammy Hines is also his name, he goes to Enoch and he says, okay, Enoch, can you please take our petitions to the creator so that we can get back into the upper realms? Well, in my opinion, mine alone, basically, I don't think Enoch did what he was supposed to do, and everyone loves Enoch, and I have no, whatever, but everything and everybody got to be questioned right now. So something happened though. Number one, Enoch should have said, no, let me tell you how you're going to get back to the creator. First and foremost, that's what he should have done. And that's not what he did. He said, okay, I'm going to take your petitions to the creator. Now, did Enoch make it to the creator? Doubtful. Highly, highly doubtful. Because many times, many places in the Bible, in the book, all the holy books, it says, you are the creator and the creator is you. You guys are one. Every living thing has a reflection of the creator. Every name is a name of the creator. So there's no way for you to be separated from the creator. It's impossible. If as once something is given a name, it is literally a reflection, a piece of the creator. Period. That's how it works. And so that whoever Enoch talked to told them their petition was not granted. Now, what does this have to do with like enchanting? Okay, one of the baselines of enchantment is that there's a covenant or a contract. It's the same thing. You make a covenant or a contract with whoever you're working with to do X, Y, and Z, a certain thing, like whatever that thing is. So we're talking about the days of the week specifically. That's what I said I was going to focus in on. So if you're making a contract to do some enchanting based on the days of the week, you would be making that contract with Ararita. And that's a whole nother thing. I can't get into what that name means right now, but that's who you be making a contract with. Ararita. Okay. That's the god who is the supervisor of those kind of contracts, the ones that have to do with the days of the week. So when you enchant, you are consecrating an item. Consecrate and enchant are the same thing. And in order to consecrate something, you first have to have a covenant. Nobody can make a covenant. Nobody can enchant something without making a covenant. Now, what a lot of these wicked people do is they make covenants to wicked entities, or they make covenants with these watchers and basically say, hey, if you do this for me, I'll go tell the creator that you've done a good thing. Like, they're lying to them because those wicked people, they don't know the creator. Enoch didn't even know the creator. He thought he was talking to the creator. Enoch was talking to the destroyer. So we got a problem here. There's some like miscommunication in this whole thing. And so if that's why it's important to go through all these scales of numbers and make sure you know yourself. You are not the creator, but the creator is within you through these various scales. And based on your capacity, again, capacity being how many different versions of the creator can you hold in your mind at one time, based on that capacity, that is which creator is going to basically hold your contract. Now, if you got to deal with other ones, it's just basic contract law. But again, most people don't understand how contracts work. These things work the same way. In the book of Enoch, in the Sefer, in the Watcher's book, they use the specific term petition. If you're familiar with legal terminology, again, this is my wheelhouse. If you're familiar with legal terminology, a petition is something where you're asking someone to evaluate your case, right? They didn't need to do a petition. You don't have to petition the creator for what you want. That's a X. You don't do that. It's no petitioning. All you do is say, "Hey, listen, I think I'm good. I think I'm doing the right thing. I think I'm in the right energy to make this decision. This is what I'm going to do. And if I can do this, you give me a sign." Just like it's more like a Gideon thing. So if you don't know the story of Gideon, he is actually a couple times they knocked down the walls of Jericho, but Gideon was one of the ones that knocked down the walls of Jericho. So an angel came, and now listen to this very carefully. And an angel came and told Gideon he was going to lead an army to destroy Jericho. Okay, Gideon was like, "Yeah, right. I'm not doing it." The angel came back again and said, "Okay, yeah, but I'm gonna need you to go and destroy Jericho." And Gideon said, "Okay, if the Creator wants me to do this, I need a sign." And this is the sign that he was very specific. This is the sign that I need. I'm gonna put this rag out here. I need the rag to be wet and the ground to be dry around it. Came back the next morning, the rag was wet, the ground was dry. Gideon was like, "Okay, wait a minute, one more time. Now I need the ground to be wet and the rag to be dry. Go sleep on it, come back the next morning, ground is wet, rag is dry." Gideon was like, "Okay, one more time. I need the rag to be wet and the ground to be dry." He tested the Creator 3 times. He was like, "I am not going and tearing nobody, taking one life until I am sure that this is what the Creator is saying to do." We did a Gideon fast in 2023. It was like, and then what Gideon and his people used to take down the walls of Jericho was jars with candles in them and shofars. They blew the horn, and while they were carrying jars with candles, that was it. It was very simple, something everybody had. If you're a Hebrew, you got a shofar somewhere. I got my shofar for sure. Like, you got a shofar somewhere if you're a Hebrew. That's easy. You got a jar. You got a candle. These are things you must have. They didn't have to go get no special stuff. They didn't have to put down no salt ring. They didn't have to say no incantations. Nothing like that unless they left that part out. But what's in the Bible is Gideon tested that angel to make sure it was true. And it wasn't just this interceptor, this deceiver, this destroyer coming in and trying to interfere with what they're trying to do. So when you get ready to do enchanting in general, you have to understand what's going into it. You do not want to be like these people out here, all of these fake spiritualists and all these other people who have different entities coming and telling them this and telling them that. And that's a Barry White song. Anyway, telling them all this stuff. They do no checking. They do no verify. I mean, trust but verify. That was the name of the fast. The trust but verify fast. No. If we're working with the Creator, we want proof. We want absolute proof. Like, there's no, "Oh, well, it's kind of like this." No. We want proof. So this is a process that I have personally been working on for years, because I'm not about to be working with my enemy. Again, I don't let my enemy calculate my feast days. I started this whole calendar thing just so I knew I was calculating my feast days and my enemy was not calculating my feast days. So if I'm going to do any enchanting, I'm going to know for a fact, number one, that the Creator and we have a deal. This is our deal. Listen, I want to make people help people become closer to you. So I am doing this enchanting as a way to be a bridge between the general population and the Creator. Right now, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of miscommunications, there's a lot of interference. I want to go directly between this person that I can physically see with my eyes or whatever, and the Creator, who they can't see. They don't know what he feels like. They didn't ask the questions. They haven't been doing all of this work. But there's got to be a way to get a piece of the Creator into their hands so that they can start to understand what the Creator is really like. That's what enchanting is. An enchanted object should bring that individual closer to the creator, the one who created us. Now, they may not believe that our creator is their creator because they believe in the deceiver. Irrelevant. The deceiver was even created by the creator. So you can go through the deceiver and still end up at the creator. That's not really the issue. The issue is nobody has any idea about all of this stuff. They just out here making deals with entities, doing weird sex magic, killing people in some cases, anything they can do just so that they can have a taste of the creator. Meanwhile, they're not even getting the fullness of the creator. They're getting the crumbs from the table. If so, the story that I told in the video I made yesterday was, now, mind you, we talk about this every episode because I don't want any entity to think that I'm okay. I am not okay. I have been out here asking for money, trying to do stuff, and I want it to be replicatable. I don't want to have to keep coming back to people, launching a new project, charging a whole bunch of money so that I can live. I refuse to live like that. So I want something that I can do that's separate, and I want to be able to say the terms. I don't want some random entity to come and give me the terms of what I'm going to do to get money in my pocket when I'm the one who has to physically live with that. That's not okay with me. So what happened was, my friend, somebody told her at her job, now this is a Hispanic man that she worked with, told her that he was trying to figure out how he was going to get some more money. He needed some money. He said to her, he was running low on cash and he was trying to figure out how he was going to get some more money. And so he has a saint. He has a saint, like, the Hispanics. He has a saint, and he asked his saint for an opportunity to get some more cash. And so what happened was, the next day, a letter comes in the mail. He's going to get some kind of a rebate back for some kind of stuff that's with his car for like $1,000. Okay. So he's like, okay, well, this is fake. He calls around. It's like, no, it's real, whatever. So the check didn't come the next day, but like 2 days later, a check for $1,000 came in the mail. And she was like, so if this is happening for him, why can't it happen for you? I said, that's the problem right there. This is a person, a foreigner on this land, pray to a foreign god on this land, got a response immediately through a saint, whatever saint, okay? Got an immediate, probably St. Christopher, because he does that kind of stuff, got an immediate answer of for the question that he was asking, did not have to suffer a single day. Now, mind you, I've been doing this for 3 years. I've been suffering every single day since August the 8th of 2022, when my nephew basically was like, he wasn't murdered, he drowned. It was horrible. I've been suffering every single day since then. Every single day. There's been no peace, no rest, no letdown. That was like the change point, and everything been downhill ever since then. So I'm trying to understand why these people can get an instant response and I can't get an instant response. And so the conclusion that I had to come to is that somebody is lying. Where are the archangels? Where are the ones in the thrones? Where are the dominions? It's 8 or 10 levels of choirs that surround the creator. Where are they? They're assigned to us. Like, the thing with the scales is that they are assigned to us to work with us, to help us. Each one of us has a different level of these things assigned to us. Where are they? Like, where are they? You can't just say, like, oh, well, they're going to work with this one and not with that one. They're going to do this and not that. No. That's not how it works. We were all created equally. Even the angels were created the way we were created. We were all created equally. And so, therefore, if one person is having a response to something and you're not having a response to something, when you're doing what you seem, this is not a jealousy thing. This is a, hey, I'm doing what's right in my eyes. What is going on here? And so what I did was, I said, okay, I called down all of these gods that rule all of these scales to come and investigate what's going on this planet. because obviously there's an issue. Like, this is the only conclusion you can come to. There's an issue. Like, if I can't get something as simple as, hey, I already did all the work. All they have to do is go in there, do some mumbo jumbo, and get the checks rolling. Like, that's it. It's not like that I'm starting from the beginning. I haven't done any of the research. I don't know what to do. Nothing. That man got a check in the mail. He didn't even fill nothing out. Me, I filled out endless amounts of stuff. Like, endless. I have not gotten a single, no, I've gotten one single positive response to anything that I've done. I'm not satisfied with that, because why would whoever gave me the information to do that, why would that entity give me that information and then make it so that it would never work? So, oh, just another endless rabbit hole to be down. No. The creator doesn't work like that. Like I said, even when you go through the destroyer, you still end up at the creator. So what the devil or the destroyer meant for bad, the creator can turn it around and use it for good. I haven't even seen that. So this is why I'm like, okay, we have to start questioning all these stories about all these so-called holy people, because the math ain't mathing. I just saw, like, just before we started this thing, one of the watchers, these, Protestants that was waiting for the rapture, he got on his channel, and he was like, did God lie to Noah? I'm like, oh my goodness, we are really about to have a revolution on this. If the Protestants are asking questions like that, they in trouble. Like, they cannot control these people when they find out they've been lied to the way they've been lied to. And that foreigners who come onto this land can get their needs met immediately, while if you're from this land, you are somehow like being held up. That's unacceptable. That's totally unacceptable behavior. So I had to just revamp my whole like thought process around the archangels, these dominions, thrones, powers, all these choirs of angels, all these different whoever. Some the math is not mathing. The only entities I've gotten immediate response from all the time is the angels. I mean, not the angels, the saints, because they were real people. The saints that were real people. Let me say that, because some saints I did not get an immediate response from, which leads me to believe that they were not real people. So that's another sort of, floating around issue. Because the problem with me personally is that because I operate from a higher scale, like at least a scale of 13, because like I said, I started out asking about Dinah because she was a 13th child and no one ever talked about her. So I jumped into this at scale 13 without properly understanding all the scales that I came through to get to that scale. And so that's the process that I've been going to. But now that I understand all these various scales, there should have been a response. So I personally I expected that, okay, well, last year when I got the check, it was on September the 25th. So I'm thinking, okay, it'll go be this year on September the 25th, which happened to be my lunar return. So basically, like, it's where the moon was, literally where the moon was when I was born. And so I'm like, okay, boom, that's going to be it. Nothing. So now I'm like, okay, I see what this is. This stuff will work for everybody else. But if I try to do it for me to improve my own personal life, it is not working. And I have an actual problem with that, so I'm still working through that. But in the meantime, all of this stuff will 100% work for y'all. It's not going to be any problems at all. So I don't know if you want me to go through day by day, or you want to have some commentary for that stuff that I just said.
Yeah, I think, the conclusion for sure makes a lot of sense. It's like you had to go through this whole period that you've gone through to arrive at the conclusions and the continued, because obviously conclusions, especially these types of conclusions, like, build upon itself.
Right.
Just because you might have a conclusion currently, obviously the conclusion could be completely different a year from now, 5 years from now. But I think what your current conclusion, your present conclusion makes the most sense in terms of um, there has been a significant distortion, a temporary distortion. And I think really what it is, it's not that, like, At least when I see it in terms of God, is it's not that he's not rewarding or providing for like his faithful followers, but it's more that there had to be, like with anything, an initiation. Obviously, as individuals, we had to go through that initiation, but also collectively as a humanity, there was a very significant period of time where the ability to be good, to be faithful, to have faith in the Lord, was able to be built organically.
Right.
And we're entering a period now where that phase has ended. You know, it's like the open phase. Hey, everyone, you can, like seek salvation. You can embrace the Lord in the middle of misalignment. That phase has ended. Now we're entering a new phase where the faithful that have shown their devotion, their loyalty, and their service to the Lord are being exalted and elevated, and as a result of their being empowered, their capabilities to enact His divine will is becoming uh, absolute. It's becoming obvious. It's become very obvious.
Right.
Humans, like whenever nowadays, just like every time I go out, it's like I'm a celebrity. And it's not like I haven't felt that before. I have celebrity type energy, but now it's like a holy celebrity type energy where they're looking like
mm.
who what is going on here? What did I just get blessed
Right.
by? Like
Right.
what did I just experience? And it's just me. I'm not move I mean, yeah, I guess I'm moving differently. I guess I feel different, but like I have not changed. I'm still the same person that I've always been.
Right.
But now, as they say, like I'm walking with a certain step.
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking with a certain swagger that humans have never seen in anywhere else or anyone else in their whole life. So just imagine how crazy that is for a human being that has basically in many ways lived just like a zombie. And then they see a sign, aka an individual that awakens them, awakens their inner divinity. Like it's something deep within them starts pumping. It's like the heart had been closed up, and then when they see me, it it starts beating a little bit. Now, sometimes it could be a
Mm.
lot, sometimes it could be a little bit, sometimes it could be in a little, in half and half. But the more that they think of me, the more that they see me, the more that they interact with me. Like there's a when I go to the park, and I go at certain times, either early afternoon or kind of later afternoon. It's almost this, it's like people are timing themselves to see like when is Medici gonna arrive? Is he
Oh my
gonna be
gosh.
in the early afternoon? Is it gonna be later afternoon? And when they get the timing right, I can see it in their faces when they see me. They're like, yes, I got like, yes, like I guessed correctly, which is just hilarious. But anyways, so as you said, like we had to, so in the work that you are doing, especially with what you just did with the Watchers, is we had to go through the grind to see the glaring issues
Right.
and then do the work to basically begin to learn how to fix it, learn how to manage that, learn how to build oneself to have the privilege to basically be in a position of power and influence to do what you're doing, not not just for this, but it's for this next system that's coming in terms of like, yeah, obviously it's great what you have now allowed humans to do in terms of it's going to be much more fluid for good
Right.
people to see the fruits of their labor and for the wicked to see the fruits of their misalignment, or just those that are misaligned, because I don't think people are necessarily wicked, although there are wicked for sure. But people just, they don't know, they're just sheep, so they're just following whatever whatever the shepherd they're following tells them to do. um,
Right.
so now that it's becoming easier for people to follow the righteous path, this is where all of our experience is going to come to play, because now we become the de facto leaders. Now we become the spiritual people, the ones
Right.
that are going to be managing these massive large operations. And so as you were saying with like this guy and the $1,000 check, you can't build an empire with $1,000.
And that's exactly what I said. I was like, he actually got crumbs. He needed a
Right.
way to make like money and he got crumbs. I was like, wow, his God really don't like him. He really don't like him.
Yeah, right. It's very and so as you it's so and this has been happening with all these people all around us. Like all these
Right.
people in terms of by serving that old system, they were able to get rewarded. And their reward was moving up the corporate ladder, being able to make enough money to buy like a nice house and vacation and family
Right.
this, family that. But that required them selling themselves out to the system. Now, would I say all of them knew? No, but they definitely turned their backs many times when God was calling on them to be righteous.
Right.
When God was
Exactly.
calling on them to be courageous, they turned their backs on him, and hey, that's gonna have to be paid for sure. That type of insolence is not tolerated whatsoever, and they'll figure it out. But so short term, they did great
Right.
financially, physically, at least materially, right? And while their whole
Right.
reality internally was really still not much of anything, but um, physically, like at least in terms of keeping up with the Jonesies, they did well. They did great. When it comes to people like us, our work is and has been in the spiritual and in the energetic. So we have built amazing things up there. We have done amazing things up in those realities. Uh, Now it's beginning to start to show up in the physical. And
Right.
um, when it shows up in the physical, it's not going to show up as $1,000 check. It's going to show up as basically, you know, leading the whole world. I mean, as you were saying, with being part of one of the families, like the powerful families, like
Right.
you're not just going to ask. If you're truly a one of those families, like God's gonna be like, okay, yeah, that's great. I'm gonna test you. I'm going to see how much you're willing to essentially sacrifice and persevere through with basically nothing,
Right.
while all these other people around you, are able to essentially quote unquote do better, but you're not moving for the $1,000 check. You and actually not even moving to be one of the families, but you are moving to be in service of the Lord. And one of the many blessings, or at least responsibilities, honors that you're going to receive is to be one of the families. And to be one of the families, like just purely financially speaking, that's a ton of money. That's more money than one could ever think to spend on. And then we're not even talking
Right.
about beyond just the financial side. So uh, it's been a long time coming for sure. But also at the same time, it's like there's a certain level of spiritual and energetic maturity that is needed to manage money in this current reality, because we're in a transitionary period. I know for
Right.
certain
Right.
if I had received, I've always like money, large amounts of money has always touched my hands, and every
Right.
single time that it has touched my hands, I almost knew innately it was not going to stick around. And it's not because I spent it or blew it all on nothing. No, actually, if anything, I would barely spend money, especially when I had all the money. It
Right.
was because I knew that it was like there was like lessons involved in me staying essentially in many ways not frugal but unattached to the physical. And had
Right.
I been able to maintain the wealth that had slipped many times, not just once but many times through my hands, I would have slowed down. I
Right.
would have just relaxed, or at least I would have tried to relax. Probably wouldn't actually, honestly, would have been able to relax, but it would have been easier for the system to start playing games with me. because
Right.
of the money that I had. Um, so I think that's a big blessing in disguise in terms of like, I mean, I'm still surprised the system hadn't tried. I mean, maybe it did, but the system really did not try at all to have me sell out. Yeah, sure, like covertly it did. Sure, there were opportunities that I maybe could have chased, but the system never came to me and said, "Hey, like join me and here's this." What the system always tried to do was, "Hey, look at that carrot really far away. Like you should go chase that. You know, that would be really nice. Like you should go do that. Look,
Right.
everyone else is chasing that carrot." And I'm like, "No, I don't want what's chasing that carrot. Like it might make a lot of money, but like that's not the way. That's I'm not gonna the fuck like." So it's like the system had been trying to convince me to put in the work to basically sell myself out. And
Bec-
they had no respect to at least be like, "Hey, let me give you some money."
right. Because it's not the system. It's not the system that is trying to sell you out. It's evil comes from inside of you. It doesn't come from outside of you. It's a scripture. I can't remember what it is, but basically Jesus is saying that all of these evils, it's anyway, I'm not going to look it up. All of these evils come from inside of you. So specifically he says something like what comes at you from the outside, basically he makes a poop joke. Like if you eat it, it's going to be like purified through your vessel and it's going to excrete out, which I'm like, oh my God, more poop jokes? Like, what is wrong with these? You could tell that was a man. Anyway, so it's going to excrete out of you, like, but the evil, like the real evil, it comes from inside of you. So the reason why it couldn't come from the inside of you is because it doesn't have a home in you. It doesn't a lot of people really are not evil. Most of humans are not evil. The evil is not within them, and the evil that comes to them from the outside, if they just took a few minutes to digest it, they could, like I just said, remove the wickedness even from remove the wickedness and leave the good. Like they're not going to throw the baby away with the bathwater. They're going to pick the baby out of the bathwater and they're going to throw the bathwater out. Like most humans would do that, but it's the spirits, principalities, and all these other things that can't do that. So what they would have done if they could have got to you was to possess you, and then you wouldn't be able to remember, because a lot of people, when they're possessed, they really don't have any knowledge of that. And so yeah, the system has no way of attacking you from the outside. It can only attack you from the
Mm,
inside. And so because you have
wow.
already done so much work on yourself, the only thing they could do was get you far and far away. Like for me, I have a family, so they can't attack me personally, but what they can, and me, I don't care. Like I've had lots of money, I've had no money. I don't actually care one way or another, because it's not for me. It's really so that I can provide my family with what they need. Like what I need is like minimal, like very, very minimal. What they need is very, very great. And so that's how they attacked me, not through taking stuff away from me, because I actually don't care, but taking stuff away from my children, having my kids act crazy, making my old man act crazy, them acting crazy at the job, me having to get a job in the first place. Like this is the way that it put me in situations I didn't want to be in. And ordinarily, the type of person I am is I'm like Job. I would just go and sit me somewhere on a corner until God shows up. Like, hey, I ain't doing nothing. I'm not moving until God shows up. But because I'm surrounded, like, in this world by these people, and knowing that I have these children that I've birthed that I have to take care of, it puts me in a slightly different position. I can't just go and live in my car like I did before. I have to like keep a roof over their heads. That's the only reasonable thing to do. So then me being that way, and me being the responsible person in my family, just puts everything at odds. So that's what they've been playing me against. It's always playing you against yourself. Like the part of you that's like, I'm going to sit and wait for the creator to show up, versus the part of you that says, I'm a mom. Like, I have a partner. Like, I can't allow them to be homeless on the street. So I have to do something else. This right here is not going to work. And because those different stories are going on, they use that appearance of difference in order to try to squeeze through the cracks, which is why I always say, I don't care about the money. Like, they're trying to force me to care about the money. They put me around all of these wicked rich people, just pure wickedness. And it's like, okay, so see what they did to get their money? Why don't you do that too? And it's like, I'm not doing what they did to get their money. Are you stupid? Like, I could clearly see, like I always say, like about my job, I'm like, we're kind of broke around here. Y'all acting like y'all running out of money. Like, and they are. They're acting like I know what it looks like because I experienced it. So I'm like, I know what that looks like. I know what that looks like. I know what all of this stuff looks like. Let me mind my business and just literally withdrawing my energy, which was what I was trying to do in the beginning. I had withdrawn my energy from their system all the way back as far as March of 2023. And they just kept trying to pull me back in. What about your kids? They're not going to have food. You're going to be living on the streets. You're going to have to move home. There's nowhere to move home because they stole your house. Like, all kinds of stuff is just piling up. Just like, is any of this stuff real? Like, does any of these things belong to me? Or is this something that doesn't belong to me? It's not my problem and something I don't have to deal with. And so every time I've had to just say, not me, not my problem, don't have to deal with. I don't have to get involved with other people's problems. If somebody comes to me with a specific problem, I always ask them, do you want me to solve this problem? Because I'm going to solve the problem. Like, some of the people I follow, they're into this research, they're researching Antifa and stuff like that. And I told them, I said, if you have a problem that is a weird thing that happens and you don't explain it, you come to me. Don't go to your pastor. Come to me. I will solve the problem. Because I don't play those type of games. Because otherwise, you have people out here, especially in these internet streets, they don't know that the conversation we're having right now, they don't have these conversations. So when something weird happens, they automatically assume that it's a demon. When it's like, it's probably not what you're thinking. Like, you have to do something within yourself. And that's where we come in with this capacity to like protect these people as they go through this awakening process. So what a bodhi is it, the word really literally means awakening. So Sophia the Bodhi is literally wisdom, the awakener. Like, before I was in a chief, like chief is like, oh, I'm protecting a group of people, and like this is my group of people that I'm protecting. A Bodhi, awakening and enlightenment is for everybody. And so the point of being a bodhisattva is a person who forgoes or delays personal nirvana or bodhi in order to compassionately help other individuals reach Buddhahood. And that's what this process I've been going through. My problem should have been solved. But if I solve my problems without making sure I knew how to solve other people's problems, then there would always be a disconnect. And it's because my North Node is in Taurus. Taurus has to deal with the what is that card? It's like the female pope. So it's like that kind of energy. Like, that's the energy I'm supposed to be in. And because I'm in that energy and have been in that energy for a long time, it is also for like when everybody gets into their own personal energy, it forces reality to change. Reality is not, the system is not crumbling because of someone out there. It's because of the individuals who are doing the deep spiritual work to become one with themselves. And as you become one, like for example, I just saw that they're getting ready to change the rules on options investing so that you can start investing in options worth like $1,000 or something. Like, that's crazy. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, like, we've been talking a little bit about investing. Now it's going to be open basically for everybody to start investing. That is insane. I mean, they could still do Forex, which probably is easier, but now they're making this whole options thing open to everybody. It's not going to be just, oh, these institutional investors who got $25,000. It's going to be, little people who can start with, like, my daughter and her friends and stuff. I can, because that's one of the things I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to teach them how to trade, start them all with $1,000, get in there and really like make sure they understand the foundations of it. That way, when they go to college or don't go to college, whatever they do, they have a little something that they know how to make money, and they don't have to go to these jobs, because it's like, well, if I'm going to make $500 a week at this job, I can make $500 a week trading. Why am I going to work this job? It's stuff like that that could, it seems small, but could change your whole life. Especially if you don't have to spend the money because your parents will take care of you. You can stay home a little longer, so on and so forth. You do that for a year, or like, you know, you're a junior in high school, you trade for your junior year and your senior year while you're still in high school. By the time you graduate from high school, you won't have to have spent any of your money, maybe a few dollars here or there to go out with your friends or whatever. Most of your money you'll save. When you graduate, you'll be able to just trade and trade and trade. You're not going to have to go to college. Forget college. Forget, their system is being broke down piece by piece because people like us are determined to break it down. I don't want my children to grow up in a world where they have to go to a meaningless job. Now, if they want to do it because they love it, totally different. But do I want them to have to go to work? I don't even want my daughter to go to college. She's like, she really wants to go, and this is important to her, and all of that stuff. Okay, that's fine. Me personally, I told her, take a gap year, travel the world, do this, do that. She's like, no, I want to go to college, and I'm going to go to dental school, and I'm doing this. And I'm like, okay, fine. You're like me. Please go and do what you want to do. But that, I'm like, you don't even have to do that. Just stay home and sit back and chill. She's like, what am I going to do? And I'm like, nothing. Like, relax. Like, but that, Pluto and Sagittarius generation ain't built like that. Pluto and Capricorn for sure, but not Pluto and Sagittarius. They're just like the boomers. They're like the extreme version of the boomers, because Sagittarius is related to Zeus. And Zeus is one of those people who was always in everybody's business. So that's the kind of energy you have with them. And
The Zoomers?
the Pluto in Sagittarius. So some Zoomers are Pluto and Sagittarius, but some are like the end of Pluto in, it depends on where you started. But the Pluto and Sagittarius age range. So what is that? About 2000, maybe like about 2000 to about um maybe 97 to about 2014, 2015. I don't know if you call, I guess what they're
Mm.
called Zoomers. They act just like the
Yeah,
boomers.
it's kind of like young millennial and then like Zoomer.
Yeah, they act just like the boomers. They're just, everything
Mm.
with them is money. Money, 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 money. Except they are not like the boomers because they refuse to do things that are wrong. Zeus, even though he was crazy, was a very just king. So he was not like, some of the stuff he did was questionable, but he was never going around deliberately doing wrong. Now, Apollo, on the other hand, he was going to get the job done. So that's the difference. You have people like the boomers are Pluto with Apollo, and the Zoomers are Pluto with Zeus. So you got a lot. It's similar energy, the fire and whatnot, but it's quite different in execution. Apollo getting the job done. Period. Don't ask no questions. Apollo gonna handle it. He gonna take out that bow and arrow. He gonna kill whoever he gotta kill. Zeus, he wasn't really into killing people. Like, he was kind of like, is there some other like thing we can do to them that doesn't involve killing them? Like, that's the kind of things that like a king would do. They're not just going to kill every single robber. They're going to be like, is there a way to rehabilitate them? And that's kind of like the Zoomer energy. Like, is there a way to rehabilitate this situation? Can we solve this situation while still being immensely focused on money? Like, that's that age group. So imagine
It's a
that
good
you have
mix.
all, yeah, you have all of these people who that's their mindset. Now they're going to be able to get into options trading with their highly autistic minds. Like, this is
Let's go
the this
Tylenol.
Yeah, let's go. Oh my gosh,
I was like,
that whole thing is
this space
insane.
is sponsored by Tylenol.
Right, exactly. Like, make sure you have some Tylenol. It's funny because I was taking Tylenol like at night. I just recently was like, I don't think I need any more Tylenol. I'm not in pain like I used to be. So I just recently stopped taking it. But I never took it while I was pregnant. But Lord have mercy. There's a lady who's like dying now. She's getting liver. Her liver is going to because she heard Trump say don't take Tylenol if you're pregnant, and she took a whole bottle or something. Like,
No.
I saw.
Oh my.
Listen, I saw it on X this morning. I was like, Lord, have mercy. This guy was like, my wife is gonna die. I believed him because people were in the comments like, oh my gosh, this is. It wasn't a joke account, you know what I mean? Like it seemed like
Yeah,
a
right.
real account of like the truth. But I saw videos from TikTok where women were like clearly pregnant, like chugging Tylenol, and it's like
What are
you
you
guys don't
doing?
even
Like, you're
understand. Just nuts. Totally nuts. So that's where we are with this energy. Like this whole concept of enchanting is how everything is going to moving forward because it's how everything already operated. We always did covenants. We always consecrated items. Like that's all. What do you think of the Ark of the Covenant is? It's a consecrated item, which means it's an
Mm,
enchanted item. Like these are not things that we didn't like as humanity did not always do. The difference is now we're going to be doing this exclusively directly with the creator and not with all these
mm,
intermediaries because these
right.
intermediaries can't be trusted. Like they have, to me, and that's just my opinion, they have proved themselves untrustworthy. Now if people work with them and it works out for them, that's fine with them. But me, I can't work with nobody who, if I say, golly, I really need X, Y, and Z, and all of y'all are sitting on your hands looking at me suffer, I can't trust anybody like that. I don't want no squares in my circle.
So, intermediaries is that all these entities? Like, is that like spirits? Like,
Well, that's where this is the stage we're at right now. That all has to be questioned. Like every entity they said was a demon have to actually be questioned to see if it really is a demon. Or if it's just on a different realm. So like I used to use my pendulum like way back. I used to use, well, not way back, I guess like in 2022, I had used my pendulum because I knew the demon assigned to me and all this stuff. Because all of it's based on your, your birthday and all that stuff. You can find out who's assigned to you. So I used my pendulum to go through the ranks and figure out like, okay, are you assigned to me? 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 And so I noticed that when I use my pendulum to contact quote unquote the angelic realm, my pendulum will go clockwise. And when I contacted the quote unquote demonic realm, my pendulum will go counterclockwise. And actually, the pendulum, the whole thing would feel different. Not even like it wasn't just that. It was like it really did not even feel like the same energy. I really got using a pendulum is really, really good for determining the different frequencies of the energy because not only can you feel it because you're holding the pendulum, but you can also see the reaction of the pendulum when you ask the question. So like when I would because basically you pretty much have to ask yes, no, either or questions. So now that I know that, of course, that has to deal with the scale of duality. So we're talking about entities that are on a duality scale. Like the story, what I really think is that these entities are not as evolved as we think they are. That's what I actually think is going on. I'm over here operating on the scale of 13. Some of these entities that I'm dealing with are not operating on the scale of 13. They stunted their growth. So they're operating on a much lower frequency than we are. And so we think that these entities again are better than us because that's the propaganda. When truthfully, we have a far greater capacity than they ever, I mean, not they ever will, but than they have currently. So that's what I actually think is happening. Like they're just not as advanced as we are. And so that's a whole lie. That means a lot of things that they told us are just lies. Just by nature of us being humans, we have access to these infinite levels of capacities. And they don't, especially if they've been tied up, bound by weird contracts and weird people. And it's like everybody is waking. So that's another thing. I also think a lot of the stuff in the Bible is not necessarily for us. It's actually for these entities so that they can find their way back to the Creator. Because the separation occurred with us as humans, but also with the spirits, with them, like the quote unquote war in heaven. Like the war in heaven is this war that we're having here on earth, and it never ended, because even though we won, humans won, they called us evil and said we lost. And I have been saying this story over and over and over again, but now I understand it. Like, no, we won, which is the lower realm. We beat the higher realm, and they're still behaving as if they won and we lost. That's not what happened. We won down here on this realm. When Eve ate the apple and gained the knowledge of good and evil, the battle was over, because that's how they were beating us, because we didn't know the cosmic laws. And now that we do know the cosmic laws, they're ingrained into us in all kinds of ways. Like, there's no, like, you can't pretend like we don't know what we're talking about. And that's what they did. They tried to act like we don't know what we're talking about, we're making it up, and all this stuff. Meanwhile, they were just using the fact that we were on a lower level of consciousness, which is, oh, everything is God. That's how Enoch could be fooled. He was on a level 1 consciousness, which is any entity who came to him that was shining brightly was God. Like, we've seen this when you see the people who quote unquote get abducted by the aliens. Like, they saw bright light, everything was an alien. Meanwhile, it's probably just, some fat guy in a suit, but they think it's an alien. It's that kind of like thing. And so if you're able to see through multiple realms, then that person that's dressed in a suit telling you they're an alien is looking kind of unfamiliar. And you're like, I know extraterrestrial energy. That's not extraterrestrial energy. That's some other kind of energy. And I'm going to actually need you to leave, because you're not allowed to be in my presence. They don't want us to be able to do that, because that's what happened in the garden. Again, because we talked about this a few weeks ago. Adam was walking around the garden with God for who even knows how long, didn't even realize there was a deceiver or a destroyer there. So the deceiver or the destroyer is telling Adam, hey, don't eat from that tree. You're going to be smart. You're going to know the difference between good and evil, and that's a bad thing for you. And Adam didn't even question it. It's Eve who's like, okay, well, I don't think some of the stuff they're doing is right, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it because she didn't have a word for it. So what happens? Again, in this quote unquote snake year, a snake manifests in this 6th year, the snake manifests into the garden and tells Eve, hey, it comes from a sky dragon, because the sky dragon is year 5 and the snake is year 6. So the sky dragon comes and tells Eve, hey, you're going to need to eat that apple, because, like, I'm trying to talk to your homeboy over there, but he ain't listening, because he's looking at this entity that he thinks is God, but it's really not God. And so what does the sky dragon tell Eve? Okay, well, if you eat from this tree, you'll have the knowledge of good and evil. And even like, well, I don't know if that's really a good idea. And the sky dragon is like, yeah, you better do that. Like, I'm gonna need you to eat from this tree. And so she goes, she eats from the tree, and then what does she do? She gives it to her man, and then all of a sudden they realize, they got us walking around here naked. We better put some clothes on. So when that God, now mind you, they have not gone through this whole scale. They're still at the unity consciousness. So when that wicked deceiver comes back to them and says, hey, actually, like, y'all gonna have to get out. That's because the deceiver knows they're getting ready to come through all these scales of knowledge. There's no, once you have the knowledge, you can't not have it. And so that's what the awakening is. So the But that entity, that quote unquote God, what did he do? It cursed the sky dragon that it would crawl on the ground like a snake. So we just get the story of the snake, but when you know the Chinese mythology, you could throw in there, wait a minute, that was a sky dragon. And that was the incarnation from that year of the sky dragon to the year of the snake. That's really what it like, that's how the story plays out. And so because they still have this unity consciousness mindset where we are God and God is us and that's it. We don't have all this other stuff. Before they left out, probably the creator showed up, or Jesus more likely than anything else. In those kind of stories, they usually refer to him as Motsa. He shows up and he's like, okay, let me give y'all a little bit like of a hint on how to like operate on the outside of this, quote unquote nirvana that you about to be kicked out of, because it's basically like a plantation. Like I heard this story along, it's like a plantation. They got them on a slave plantation and they don't know that they're slaves. So they're getting ready to be kicked off the plantation. And Moses like, okay, let me get y'all a little bit of information on how to operate outside. And so he probably tells them a few things. And then they're after 30 days. Because then my other question was, if what they did was so bad, why did the creator give them clothes? Why did he put them out right away? Why wait 30 days? And it's because it wasn't the creator that told them they had to get out, it was the deceiver. And because they decided to leave, this is why part of like why I'm so adamant about what I'm saying is that they can't make me leave. That again, they can't make me give up my body. They can't make me take their deal. I don't want their deal. I want my deal. I wrote a covenant. I have a contract with the creator for what I said that I wanted. That's what I want. I'm not settling for no less. So that's why you have to be adamant about what you ask for too, because you in your heart made your covenant with your creator. Nobody can take that from you. And you have to enforce it. And what does enforcing it look like? It looks like what I'm going through. Like, yeah, I'm sitting here and I'll do the bare minimum that keeps food on the table and a roof over my people heads, but ain't nobody getting comfortable until I get what I asked for, specifically what I asked for, because I want it to be repeatable. So what happened with Adam and Eve is they probably decided it was time to leave. Like, how long are you just going to be, again, at home at your parents' house, sitting in your parents' basement? You know what I mean? Like, how long are you going to be in college? Like, how long are you going to be in school? Like, sometimes it's just time to go. And that's what they decided. It was just time to go. Of course, the ones who wrote the story are the wicked kings and the wicked priests. So they wrote it like, oh, yeah, they got kicked out of the garden. 30 days later, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they wait 30 days? Wait, the creator made them clothes? Like he made them clothes, like armor to go out into the real world? Why would he do that? It's like he wouldn't. Like the stuff would already be prepared for when that part of the story came through. And the reason why it's important to talk about the deceiver is because that concept of being deceived is very important. They also wrote Judas out. Like, so when you're looking for like the story of Judas and all of this stuff, it's extremely difficult to find. They don't want you to understand why Judas did what he did. There's no way Jesus makes it to the cross without Judas. He needs Judas to sell him out. And Jesus knows nobody in his circle is strong enough to sell him out. Look at Peter. All he said to Peter was, you gonna deny me 3 times before the cock crows. And here Peter is bawling his eyes out because he denied Jesus 3 times. These men are not strong enough to sell this man out and watch this man be crucified. Even Judas wasn't strong enough. But still, he was the only one who could do it. None of these other disciples, as strong as they are, could do it. And of course, Judas is associated with Scorpio energy. So us, Pluto and Scorpio generation, are the ones who's going to strategically lie to whoever we got to lie to get the job done. Like, no. Okay, yep, I'm going to come to this job. I'm going to smile on your face. I'm going to take your money. At the same time, the minute I get the opportunity to do X, Y, and Z, I'm out the door. Like, you think I'm over here giving you advice. Meanwhile, I'm over here telling, my coworkers, look, this how you deal with this. This how you deal with that. This who you talk to. This who you don't talk to. Watch about this. Watch about that. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm doing. Meanwhile, you think I'm up here shucking and jiving and smiling in your face. Absolutely not. That's the kind of energy that's necessary to make this transition. If there was no, and they tried to literally erase us because again, Scorpio is related to Judas. And if you, like I say, if you look for Judas, you can't find him. So it's really important to remember that. Like these different signs, they like with the Pluto and Libra, the Gen Xers, they didn't know what they were going to do. So because in the mythology, you got Hephaestus, and Hephaestus, sometimes he was good, sometimes he was bad. It really depended on what was going on. But Hephaestus was the one that built the weapons. So they knew they needed Gen X around to build all of their weapons. But Aries, Aries don't work the same way as Hephaestus. Aries is Hera's son. So first of all, Aries got a control complex because Hera very controlling. Second of all, Aries comes in to finish the battle. So they try to give us imaginary battles to fight by again all of these shots, all of this weird stuff, like all of this propaganda in the media and all this stuff. They try to give the Pluto and Scorpio generation all of these battles to fight. And meanwhile, none of these battles is our battles to fight. And so, no, I'm not going to fight your battle. Are you crazy? Like, I'm going to come in and fight your battle. Just like they're trying to do with this whole thing in the Middle East. They're like, okay, yeah, we're going to have you guys go in here and we're going to get all you able-bodied, whatever people in this age range, and we're going to get you to fight. And the collective of the Pluto with Scorpio generation, which is the millennials, was like, no, we're not doing it. That's the same thing that happened in 2001 with the Twin Towers. They thought, okay, we're just going to recruit all these people and send them overseas and all this stuff. That backfired on them horribly. They cannot even, they cannot even recover from that because now no millennial with any sense trusts anything that these people say. Nobody. Hey, you can't trust anything that the government tells you. The government is always lying to you. Like, even if the government were telling the truth, like this whole Tylenol thing, millennials, a lot of millennials have it in their mind that no matter who in the government says it, it's a lie. It doesn't matter. So you just have this whole, they're unable to parse out, like, some people are telling you the truth, some people are telling you lies. You got to figure out who is who. That capacity is completely wiped out. And so I think you're going to see a lot of Gen X, I mean, millennials just be wiped out in the next year or two because they don't have the capacity for good versus evil. They're not even at unity consciousness. Again, they're like NPCs. They don't believe there's a God. They're not God. It's just all some random matrix that's outside of them that's controlling their whole life. Like, okay, so you're not even in the scale. Like, you're not even on the scale. You have no place. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I think in terms of it's, I mean, the beautiful thing about what we're doing is that, like, obviously it helps to have these perspectives in terms of what is like going on. And the more that we continue to persevere, the more clarity that we gain from
Right.
really kind of like what's this game about? Because for sure, everything the system has put out, um, obviously it's divinely orchestrated, but like it's been to distract and really, I think, make it very difficult. It's essentially almost like a game where only like the real faithful ones and not the fake religious faithful ones, but the actual loyal, faithful, devoted ones to God actually
Right.
come out for this basically, I guess, to manage the new world order, the new reality. So it's like the system had to basically put in these mechanisms to make it very difficult for people to connect directly with God.
Right.
And now we're entering a phase where, like, as I said before, like this that phase is over. We found our people, we found our leaders, And now everything begins to revolve around the leaders because, well, those are the philosopher kings. Like those are the people that have been chosen, that have gone through many tests, trials, and tribulations to continue um, having faith in the Lord, and also not like, not allowing oneself to be consumed by the previous system to then bring about this new world order. So
Right.
it's very interesting, like the acceleration that we're experiencing right now in terms of, like, I mean, just all the narratives that I'm receiving, like the burping, I think was a big one, which I've been doing that significantly. And then now with like working with all the Olympians, like it's like it does not seem real because I never thought that I would be doing any of this. Like this is really crazy. Um like
That's
I'm
pretty
cutting
much
my
how you
hair.
know you were built for it. Like, because the people who are not built for this, they're like, oh, of course. Of course they would work with me. Like, no, this does not seem real. I say that all the time.
Yeah, right. I'm cutting my hair tomorrow, and I'm looking up kind of rituals to do for Aphrodite because that's the one that I feel called to do an offering for with my hair. And like, would I have been doing this like a year ago? No, no, I would have been like, I don't feel called to do any of that actually. That's just not my thing. But now it's like
Right.
I can't help but continue to show now consciously my gratitude for God, and in one of the many ways of showing my gratitude to God, to the divine being, to the creator, is by honoring these. In the current state that I'm in, mostly is the Olympians. Obviously, I'm not going to
Right.
just stick with the Olympians forever. There's so many other entities, gods and goddesses, and others that to work with, but um definitely, like.
Believe me, once you're done with one, they know when to move on. It's really the humans that are like, oh, I've devoted so much of my energy to this entity that I can't
Mm,
leave them. You know what I mean? But the humans, if I had to list out all of the entities I've worked with in the last 3 years, I could not do it. Probably over 1,000.
wow.
Yeah, at least, and I think that's even like not enough because some of the entities, especially in the Hindu pantheon, have 7 or 8 or 9 different versions, and so it's the humans that don't want to move on to new entities. It's not the entities.
And when you work with these, like, all these different entities that you've worked with, is it mainly for your research, like, for your work? Like, what's the, I guess, what does that, like, relationship look like?
So at first, I was asking again. I was looking for Dinah in these stories. I was like, okay, so if there's a divine feminine, like we've got to start with Dinah because they're always talking about the 12 tribes in the Hebrew pantheon. That means Dinah's got to be as important as the brothers because how can you have how can you be one sister with 12 brothers and not be important? Like the math just wasn't mathing with like what they were saying. So I was on this whole like Dinah hunt. And so in the process of that, then I end up with Diana, very similar name. So I was researching her, and then when I was researching her, it was like, okay, but Lilith. And I was like, well, I thought Lilith was bad, this and that. So then it was like, oh, okay, this is an issue. So what we did with Lilith was that was when we really started to give the different characters happy endings. And what do I mean by that? Like they say that Lilith was this monster and she was evil and she birthed all these demons and all this stuff. So we said, well, what if that's not what happened? What if what actually
Mm.
happened was, she was trying to get along with Adam, but he like it just made me realize that the men in the Bible specifically, a lot of them have issues. Like something was wrong with them. And like if you are an advanced being and you're trying to convince like Adam to consummate this like relationship. And he's just not like, it's not all connected. Like I don't know how to describe it, but the something was not working like the way they were supposed to, and he was in some kind of, I don't know, like I don't know exactly what, but the point of the story is there's no way that Lilith just left Adam's, he wanted like control over her. That doesn't seem like it's like more like, because Black Moon Lilith is definitely like Scorpio like energy, more like she knew that this planet had to be inhabited, and Adam could not figure out what to do with himself. And so she had to go and get this planet inhabited, because that's what, if you're a Scorpio person, you're all about death and rebirth. And what is birth? I mean, you can't, if you're going to have death, you have to have rebirth. So she had to go out and figure out how she was going to get this planet populated so that all the rest of the things that needed to happen could happen. Because remember, the spirits can't evolve if we don't evolve. This is why this whole thing is so wicked, is because if the angels can't evolve if we don't evolve. This is a lot, like Rudolf Steiner talks about this a lot. So they have stunted the growth of the entire universe by stunting our growth.
And they as in like the quote unquote wicked
The
people.
deceiver, deceiver and his minions.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
The wicked kings and the wicked priests, like they have stunted the growth of the whole universe because they wanted to rule the universe instead of, again, they wanted to be the creator instead of serving at the pleasure of the creator. So that's what has caused this whole slowdown. So like I said, meanwhile, I'm talking with entities that are like at least on the level that I'm on, and these entities, a lot of them are yes and no. They're on the scale of 2. They only do yes and no. Like that's problematic. Like if I'm trying to solve a level 13 problem, which my problems are all level 13 problems, a level 2 entity cannot solve a level 13 problem. I gotta go to a level 13 entity.
Now with the levels, like technically, if our vibrational state, both individually, but I guess in this situation also it's more like collectively, continues increasing, would these level 2 entities actually become the level 15 entities? I mean, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would evolve as we're evolving together, as above, so below.
So how do
Everybody
you?
would.
So these entities, that are level 2 that you've worked with, or that you were working with, how do we rehabilitate them?
We have to evolve.
That's
We have to evolve past that. So like now, I don't use my pendulum that often. Because I don't need it anymore. I've evolved past the level 2. Like I said, I'm on level 13 now. I've evolved past level 2. But the whole thing is, sometimes you have level 2 questions. So when you have level 2 questions, let me just say level 2. Level 2 is duality. If you have to make an absolute choice, yes or no, sun or moon, earth or water, heart or brain, like if you have to make yes or no choices, or for some reason, if I was or like gnashing of teeth. Like if I had one of these issues, I would go back to this level and ask these questions. That's the whole thing. Like we have to, as we learn the lessons of the scales, we have to actually remember, oh, this is what I did when I had that problem, so that I can access that level again. Because just because I have a level, I have a level 13 problem, doesn't mean I don't have a level 2 problem. It's just a different problem.
right.
Like for example, a level 2 problem would be, okay, should I move more to the sun, or should I go more to the moon energy? Now me, I'm already at triplicity from that, so I use the sun and the moon. But if I had to decide, like, okay, should I use the sun for this ritual or the moon for this ritual, then I could go back and use my pendulum. Hey, what do you guys think, sun or moon? Like, yes or no? Like, that's how I could deal with that. Because when you do this enchanting stuff, sometimes it matters. Like certain things you should, but because I understand again a higher level what the sun energy is really like and what the moon energy is really like, I can tailor my enchanting to that. So like I just enchanted a bunch of stuff for myself. I had a ring, some earrings, and I put together some bracelets and stuff like that. A necklace, a dragon necklace I bought, and I waited. I was like, okay, I bought all this stuff. What am I gonna do with this? Why can't I do this? I usually consecrate my stuff as soon as I get it. But I was like, oh, I need to do this with my moon phase. So I had to wait until the 25th, when my moon phase came up, my literal lunar return, to consecrate the items with the moon, because I have always consecrated my stuff with the sun. So this stuff I consecrated with the moon. So now I can move back and forth between the realms and the entities, knowing I have lunar stuff and I have solar stuff and now I have lunar stuff. Because a lot of times before I was only using the solar cycles. I wasn't using the lunar cycles. Now I'm using more of the lunar cycles in conjunction with the solar cycles. So it gives my work a more layered effect, as opposed to like a lot of people who buy enchanted items from people, they don't understand that there's like rules. So for example, there's a plant called the rue plant, and the rue plant is really good for warding off evil spirits and stuff like that. However, it has to be harvested on a Wednesday when the moon is increasing or decreasing. I can't remember which one. It's very specific. So if you're just a normal person, like you're going to the store and you're buying a rue bath, that rue wasn't collected when it's also got to be collected with a golden because it's called the queen of the plant. So it's got to be collected with a golden, like a piece of gold. Basically, you have to use the gold to collect the stuff off the plant. So like it's rules to working with some of this stuff. Like you got to understand, you got to do it at night, and it's a whole thing. So you know that about like this particular plant, and you're going to the store and you're just buying some, whatever rue bath or rue water or whatever, it's not the right thing because those people didn't follow the rules. Their mass production cannot, it can, not saying it's not impossible, but 9 times out of 10, unless you're talking to somebody who knows what they're talking about, they're just like, oh, well, I just, ordered this off of what. It's like, well, did they collect it the right way? Did they use a golden knife? Like, there's a lot of rules. They can't answer those questions. So you have to, if you're going to be doing your own like personal magic, you have to know the rules for the items that you're working with.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we didn't get to the enchanting by days, but I think there was obviously a lot of that we had
It's
to
back
discuss
work. Yeah,
anyways.
you have to know this stuff about the covenant. So for next time we'll go into the stuff by the days. So if you're going to get into this, you really want to make a covenant for what you want to happen as a result of this enchanting. And so, what I'm suggesting to people is that when they do this kind of work, they do this kind of enchanting by the days of the week, that they are enchanting so that to give people their jubilee. And the reason why I say that is because you cannot be given your blessing if a blessing is not given to others. Like when the Jubilee year was announced, like people gave gifts basically. And so by you giving gifts, like getting into that gift giving habit, like I said, we'll talk more about like what specifically, but as you get into
Oh,
that
yeah,
gift
right.
giving habit, you want to
Mhm.
be giving the gift to them so that they can experience Jubilee. Because if we have enough people carrying around these blessed, because these are blessed objects, like this, like
Mm.
holy water, they're carrying around these blessed objects that are programmed with the person who's receiving this is going to experience Jubilee. That raises the whole vibration for the earth for Jubilee. And that's what we need. That's where we're headed. That's where the promises are. The promises are in the Jubilee.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's another
exciting
thing.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're I forgot about the gifts and the
yeah,
power of these gifts, and
yeah.
I think you were talking about giving people like a necklace. Was that us talking about like giving people like a necklace that has an enchantment and it helps them to
Yes, I mean,
be
it could be
abundant
anything.
or whatever it might be?
Yes. Yes, it's and you can do it like I said based on the day that they were born. You can do it based on the moon phase. I was just going to talk about the days that people are born because it's once I describe the energy, you can literally like tell who was born on what day. Or you could just give it based on your energy um like you're born on Tuesday. So the color for the stone for Tuesday is a diamond. So you could get a bunch of like Herkimer diamonds, which are super cheap. And every time, you see somebody, you're like, you just get some whole little ritual around giving them this Herkimer diamond. Like, I don't know, like, and I think where you are, you can actually probably go to the mine and pick them up, which would be really cool. But it's something about like really something that you connect with deeply. Me, since I've already done all this stuff, I would do like if I knew somebody was born on Sunday, I would give them the stone for Sunday. I would give them something gold or whatever. Like I would work it out like that. But for people who are new to this, give them a piece of you because if they're carrying around a piece of you, they may find that more valuable than even themselves, especially if you're the emperor. If
Yeah,
you're this
right.
is why the kings had coins with their faces on it
Mm,
because they're the most for most normies like NPCs, the most important thing in their life is their king.
right.
And so if you have a special thing, like why do you think Trump gives out the pins?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's intense loyalty.
Yeah. It's like
It's hard to not be a fan when you get gifted one of those.
exactly. And it's just a pin or a hat. It's like, oh yeah, I'll sign the hat. Like,
Mm.
does it mean anything to him? No, he don't care about none of it. Like, and the crazy part is people can't even see how little he cares about any of this stuff. He does not. He cared about that limestone that they broke. That's what he building is. That's what he cared about. That limestone that they broke
Right.
more than anything else. Like literally. So people don't have an understanding of like what this is. But again, once you know it, then you can see it in anything. It's like, oh my gosh, these people are so excited to get pins. I'm like, I don't even want to go to the White House. Like when everybody, all the black influencers went to the White House because Charlie had got them in there and Candace was there and all these people was there. I was like, no, thank you. I'm not. And I lived in DC. I was like, I'm okay. Y'all need a ride? I'll be driving Uber, man. I'm not. I just wasn't interested because I already like I just wasn't interested. I'm not trying to go to the White House like that. I mean, some people that's their whole life. I don't care, like, because I don't want what these people have. So it doesn't impress me to be able to interact with them. And that's what a lot of normies they don't understand. Like if they get look at how many people bought the Trump coin. Like just because they wanted a piece of Trump, like, it's kind of, I don't know. I don't have a good word for it. I won't say that it's weird. It's just, I don't understand it because I'm not that loyal to anybody but the creator. And so I don't understand being that loyal to somebody. I mean, I get it, but it's not really a thing that's for me. As far as I know, I'm fiercely loyal, but not like these people.
Yeah, they're it's like they give someone else the power to think for them, to live for
Right,
they're it's not a very healthy way of going about it, because they don't got, they don't got anything. Like these peasants don't really have much of anything, and so obviously they gotta direct their love and devotion and loyalty. But the thing is, the issue with peasants mostly is that they don't even like they're loyal, but they're really not. They're really not. It's
right,
more just purely from like, well, if everyone thinks Trump is cool, like I'm gonna be loyal to Trump. But the moment
right.
Trump stops being cool, most of these people are gonna leave. They're just gonna go to the next thing that's cool, to whatever
Well,
whoever is the one in power.
As a person who has been with these people since 2015, that's not how it works. There's a different, typically, yes, not these people. This is something unlike we've ever seen on this planet. I know that for sure. We've never seen
What, their
anything like this.
loyalty with Trump?
Yes, the
Mm.
loyalty is not like a normal, like, oh, they'll just go. No, 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 no. These people, this is not normal. This is not normal, which is one of the reasons why I watch him so closely, because when it's very interesting how you see he changes his positions when people start chipping out. Whereas in the first term, he did it, but not really. This term, you really see if people start adding him, chipping out, contacting his team, getting on. Don is calling him. Like, he changes his position. Like, there's no reason to come out against Tylenol like this. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason. That's because you got people chipping out over these
Well, but
vaccines
you
and the
know,
fact that
isn't that like a sign of his weakening power? Because
no,
you know, if a
no,
ruler is
no.
ruling absolutely, like they don't care what the people
No,
say.
that's not how you stay in power though. You no, if a ruler is ruling absolutely, he cannot stay in power. That's not how successful rulers operate. A successful ruler is able to get the temperature of his kingdom and do what the people in the kingdom want.
Mm, right.
Otherwise, you can't people won't be loyal to you if you're always going against them. You've got to make everyone from the smallest to the tallest feel important. That's how you maintain a kingdom. Not like, oh, I'm going to do whatever I want and F these people. No, no, no. You can't do that, because then your people will turn against you. And one thing I would say, that in all of politics, Trump is the only one who has energy. Like, he is the only one who has energy constantly being directed towards him. Which, being a Pluto and Leo, he
Mm.
feeds off that energy. So he needs the
So from
energy.
his followers.
Yes, from his followers. So if he gets too, I mean, most people would say that he's not far enough right, which is what I say. But at the same time, he's not, the left. So it's kind of like, I might not be super excited with this, but it's tolerable. But the people who are in the middle, like the just regular kind of normie people who have jobs and stuff like that, they're like, yeah, he's the best president I've ever seen since ever. He's better than Reagan. Like, they're cool with it because their needs are much lower. Their standards are much lower than my standards. My standards are for president have not ever been, could never be met, because I have high standards. But there's people whose standards are very low. They just like, let me keep going to my job every day and getting my paycheck. Now he done promised them no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, because the whole tax scam, right?
For
Do
what?
you? With the overtime and the tips and stuff. Do you know what it is? Have you heard of it? Like the scam, what they're doing?
Um, like are they misreporting it? Isn't there something with like misreporting
What
it
they're
or
doing is, okay, so if you work at a warehouse and you work overtime, okay, what they do is they charge you taxes, and they take the taxes, quote unquote, out of your check. And then the tax rate, basically, you end up being taxed more because you get taxed to a certain rate, like with your regular hours. And if you
Mhm.
make more, it puts you into another tax bracket. So even though you work overtime, you usually end up bringing home about half of what you would have made if you hadn't worked the overtime, because it pushes you into another tax bracket. So by taking away all of that overtime, but what they were doing is, when they were taking the taxes out of your check, they weren't paying them because they're using tax credits. So they're literally just charging you to work more and then keeping the profit. Same goes with tips. Same goes with anything where they're taxing you, even your regular job. If they take taxes out of your check at your regular job, there's no guarantee they're paying those taxes to the government because they have tax credits. And so they may be taking your taxes out of your regular paycheck and then
That's
never paying it to the government.
crazy.
Yeah, it's a scam. It's a whole huge scam. Listen, this is why
And
I
they
don't
just
want to work.
pocket. They just
Yeah,
pocket
they
it.
just pocket it. That's how these people get all of
These
their.
people are so greedy.
It's
It's crazy how greedy they are.
it's
Like it's never
foul.
enough. It's never
No,
enough for them.
no, no, it's never enough. Mind you, those are the people that are being paid on
Uh-huh.
legitimately. You got all these foreign people working under the table. They're not paying nothing on them. Zero. $0, 0 cents, no taxes, no nothing. No workman's comp, none of that stuff. Zero. And
Yeah,
so
that's all gonna end because
yeah, it's going away. It's going
that's not
away. They was making money hand over fist, but the overtime thing really pissed me off because a lot of jobs that have mandatory overtime. So not only are they forcing you to work overtime, they're charging you a tax rate of the overtime hours that's basically making it so that you still bring home the same amount. These people are wicked.
what?
Yeah, it's all man,
How
it's
but
awful.
yeah,
It's
that's like
awful. And imagine if you make tips. It's the same thing. They're not paying. Listen, I worked at a restaurant. I worked at a restaurant. Yeah, they have to pay stuff, right? But if they're taxing like tips and stuff, oh yeah, they're pocketing all of that money. They're pocketing all of it
yeah,
because they're
they're
not going
definitely
to
not
report it.
reporting it. Yeah, they're not
No,
gonna
they're not
report it
going to.
for
And
sure.
another thing they do at restaurants, especially ones that sell alcohol, is they charge the person who comes in, or let's say you order a whiskey sour. They're charging you the full rate of tax on the whole drink. But when they pay the tax, they're only paying the alcohol tax, which is higher for the whiskey portion, not for the sour portion, even though they charge you to sit down and
Oh
pay the whole thing.
wow.
Yeah, it's a scam. It's a lot of
So
scams going
if
on.
they're charge you, let's say like 50 cents tax, it's probably only like 10 cents, 20
Might be
cents.
20, yeah, maybe 25 cents tax. Well,
What
it
is
might
and
be,
it's the funny thing is, these people penny pinching like this,
yeah,
and they're still not successful. At least a lot of these
they're
restaurant, like a
not.
lot of these restaurants, I mean, the restaurant business is very difficult as is,
Yeah,
but
it is.
like to have to do these types of scheming ways and
It's
like barely
insane.
survive or actually
It's
go
crazy.
under
It's
is
crazy.
is like maybe that's why because the energy of these people is just not it and like with restaurants because there's like restaurants really I would say I think the reason why it's so difficult is because you need a constant flow of people
Right.
and if you are not executing and performing energetically at the right spot, the restaurant is just not going to get the flow of people. Whereas, yeah, I guess it's similar to like a regular company, but most companies they have like a certain number of clients, 5,
Right.
10, 15, 20, and they
Right.
build very deep relationships with them and provide them good service and like it's manageable. It's just a few clients.
Right.
Whereas with something like restaurants, you're dealing with 20, 30, 40, 50 plus people basically if it's a good restaurant like every single day minimum.
Right.
And so it's almost like I think what we're seeing with restaurants and a reason why like Chipotle is going down. The reason that Chipotle has not been doing well, at least stock wise, and revenues. Starbucks is closing down a lot of their
Yeah, I
stores.
saw.
Is
They're doing horrible.
Yeah, is if the energy like if the energy is private equity type parasitic, the customers are going to say fuck this.
Right.
I'm not going to keep coming into Chipotle if you're going to skimp out on the food. If you're going to be, barely pouring any meat or chicken or
Right.
whatever the fuck it is. On top of that, your prices are high and
Right.
it's like so it's interesting as that you mentioned this because what we're able to see then is the industries that are being most impacted by the increase of the energy. And I think for sure the hospitality, and specifically in hospitality, like the restaurateurs that are not aligned to how they should be serving their customers and that are taking advantage of their employees and that are doing this and that, they're getting hit the hardest first. And
Oh
from
yeah.
them, then you're going to start seeing all these other industries start to get hit hard as well. Because to be taking advantage of your employees like that, your employees are family. They're
Exactly.
literally your family, and to be like penny pinching in this way is just crazy. It's just absurd, and we've basically just the system has like society has just allowed it to just keep happening, but obviously energetically it's at the point where no, that's not going to happen again. That just cannot, that just doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore.
And that's why I think that the whole concept of business has to be revamped. So what I suggest when people do businesses in general is that if you have a business, that's fine, but you also want to have an investment account that's just operating in the background, like that's just regularly investing and reinvesting your money, especially like I said with Forex, because that's what I'm familiar with. But whatever it is, you want to just have that thing chugging in the background, like making, getting as high returns as you can get while you're doing your business, so that when you do your business, you're doing it because you love it, not because you need the money. You want to have an alternative revenue source for any business that you start. You don't want that your whole revenue source to be with your business. So like on a restaurant that when I left, we were making like $2 million a year. One of the things that we did was we started doing more specialized events. And specialized events are a little bit harder to get, but once you get them, like we were doing a lot of like political events for the different candidates, and then like we did some reality TV show stuff, and just more highly specialized events, like small catered events, stuff like that. So that way, when like the regular business was slow, which sometimes can happen in a restaurant, you still have these small, regularly scheduled events that are much that are robust enough to keep your business afloat. But that goes with any business. If you're this, that gives you the capacity to pivot. If you don't have an alternative revenue
Right,
source,
right,
you can't pivot.
right.
Like this is why I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to change my name, because like I have a lot of in my mind, which is not like physical, but in my mind I have a lot of equity in being this, doing this whole tribal thing. Like, but as I see the whole tribal narrative in the Black community starting to implode, and these people are starting to behave just like the Hebrew Israelites with this whole, yeah, because I'm from the land, you're not from the land, you're horrible, everybody from the land looks like me. Like that, I never said none of, I never agreed to that. I don't want to be in bed with these people. Their brains don't work. Like, how could, if this continent is, I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of years, you think it was only people who look like you on this whole continent? Come on, man, your brain ain't working. I can't be in cahoots with these people who have this supremacist, like people always talk about the white supremacists. Don't get start talking about the Black supremacists. They just believe Black everything. There's nothing but Black. And it's like, dog, y'all are totally missing the point of this human experience. Like, you have totally gone off the deep end. And so I knew that I had to pivot away from that. But again, all of the energy I've invested in those narratives now is just basically poof, it's eviscerated, because I changed my profile picture. I changed my name. Some people know I'm frequently changing my name, so then it's not going to be a shock. But for people who are expecting me to continue on this whole, uh, being some kind of chief and like this, model leader or whatever, and now I'm going down the video vixen lane, like it's going to be, it might be too much for people. They might not be able to get on board with the new narrative. But because in my mind my revenue source is, hey, I'm going to do what the creator tells me to do, and if he's saying it's time for a name change, then it's time for a name change, and my money is not tied up in Twitter or
Mm-hmm.
YouTube or any
Right.
of these people. I could just pivot and say, well, hopefully some people learned something from me while I was on that super religious thing. It's demon time now, so we're going to go into the dark side. Like, that's just, I can't do anything about it. I don't know what to tell people. Like, this is just how it plays how it plays out for me because I have a lot of Scorpio energy, like not just my Pluto, but I have a lot of Scorpio energy. And as soon as we moved into Libra energy, that is the bottom side of the chart. That's the end of the chart. So that's moving in. People should be pivoting now. We should be pivoting away from the light and into the darkness on this,
Oh,
land,
wow.
because we're going into the darkness. Like we're literally going into the dark. So now's the time to deal with all of that secret stuff, all of that hidden stuff, all that raw emotion, all that kind of thing. That's the kind of things that should be coming up now. And here instead you have people that's like, okay, doubling down and tripling down on their failed rapture. That's not going to work. Like you have to get into the other side. Like that's why again all of this, the timing on all this stuff is so important, because if I hadn't freed those entities yesterday was
Mm.
the sun was at 2 degrees of Libra when we started the day, and 2 degrees of Libra is the super galactic center, which is not the center of this universe, but the center of like 40 or 50 universes that includes Andromeda and stuff like that. And so it needed to be done yesterday so that that silver cord that connects us from this universe into this super galactic center universe, everybody could be told at the same time, hey, these entities are free. Let them go back to where they came from, because we don't know where they come from. We just, nobody knows anything, how any of this stuff works. And I'm not saying I know, but they could come from other universes. So if they need to go back to where they come from, they got to know that they can go. And so I had to put that message out when I put it out so that they could go on the day when we're connected to the galactic center.
Yep, makes sense. Yeah, when you posted that video, it I felt the energy for sure.
Yeah, people are saying like something is different. Like because the reason why I changed my name is because my friend said, "Well, I have a dream, and you got to change your name." I'm like, "Man,
Oh,
come
wow.
on." Oh, come on. She said, "Yeah, I was this and that. Something about being on a mountain, and you have to, because I also have a very rare placement in my chart where my nodes, my north node and my south node, were not retrograde when I was born, and that's extremely rare because they're only out of retrograde for like a few minutes, like every
Wow.
day. It's very, very rare. And so like um when a planet is retrograde in your chart, it's like it's really close to you. But when it's direct, it's like the energy just flows. It's like it don't have to be so close to you. So most people, their moon energy is close to them because their nodes are retrograde. For me, my moon energy is not close to me. I have to work much harder to connect with the lunar energy because it's actually just not close to me, because my nodes were literally like direct, which is in most people charts you never see that. And so that's what she was saying to me, like your purpose is far away from you, so like you have to actually like go and get it. Like it's not like how everybody else, they'll bring it close to them so they can easily just pick it up off the ground. You have to like go on a vision quest. Go on a vision quest out there somewhere. Like she specifically said, you're like a mystic. Like you have to go like into this mystery world and bring it back towards you, which is like, okay, but like I don't feel like changing my name today. She's like, no, you have to do it like now. I'm like, oh my gosh. Y'all just want me to have all this work to do. It's annoying, but it is what it is. Like but I can do it because my money is not tied up with any of these people or
Uh-huh,
any of their
right,
ideas.
right,
And if
yep.
it was, then I would like
Yeah,
if
because
my
if you had
whole
a big following that was, like, super
right,
normie towards you, they would be
right,
like, "Why did you change your name?
right.
What's going on? This and that." And that's, really, in many ways, one of the benefits of, like, being negated in some ways where, like, we don't gotta deal with the normies because we don't
Right.
build a following of normies. Now
No.
eventually, like, normies are going to show up, especially, like, as we
Right.
become, more popular. Um, but even then, like, we'll be at the point where when you are called to change, whether it's your name or topics or conversations, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter what the audience is going to say. That
Right.
means no. And so, okay, so going back to the Trump thing, this is so, notice how there is like it's a dichotomy of two worlds where, as you were saying, like someone like Trump, like in his power is to manage the crowd essentially,
Right.
just appease
Basically.
the crowd while also pushing what he believes is best for, could be for his interests, it could be for America, it
Right.
could be for the world. I mean, obviously, we don't know what his priorities are on, but then also then we have this on the other side is the, well, I'm not bound to anything. I'm not tied to anything. So when I
Right.
am called to do something, I do it and I don't care what the crowd thinks because my power is not based on the crowd. Now, um, it's going to be interesting to start thinking about, okay, well, how do you live in both? Or do you only live in one? Or like, because both, um, when you don't have the masses following you, then obviously the I'm doing my thing type vibe makes the most sense. But
Right.
when you have tons of people following you, do you shift? And so okay, so what I have seen with influencers is that they shift. Is they go from being original, they go from when they have a couple hundred followers, maybe if they're lucky, a couple of thousand, but usually it's below 1,000 followers. They're putting out really creative, original content. One thing leads
Right.
to another. They make friends with a few influencers. They get helped up. Next thing you know, they're at a few thousand. When they hit that like 10,000 mark, almost always they completely change. They change completely from being like a unique human being to appeasing their followers, to basically serving their followers, because now they have tied their value, their clout, and their ability to potentially monetize. Because for a lot of these people, they're growing their following to monetize. Like they don't
Right.
really they don't really care necessarily about the quality of the work so long as it makes the money somehow.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so
That's
when
true.
these influencers turn from being unique to serving their followers, the alpha that they might have used to have disappears. Like
Yes.
they lose themselves in the sauce, because to serve the masses is to basically have to devalue one's value to appease whatever the current state of the masses is in. Um,
That's true. So we need a new business model. This is also the kind of thing that I've been thinking about and building out energetically, which is we need a new business model. We need to have a business model where our money does not come from these platforms. Again, this goes back into the whole having a alternative revenue source. We have to encourage people to stay unique even when their numbers grow. We have to be supporting these creators with money that is so valuable or massive to them that they'll look at the money they're getting from like a YouTube or whatever and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. Because you know who's not doing that? Streamers. The people who are on Kick and Twitch and stuff like that. I think like they still say the same. I don't follow streaming as much as I do like YouTube, but I absolutely see this on YouTube. Like when people start getting those YouTube checks, they change everything. Like they cut out everything that made them interesting and creative.
uh-huh.
They're so worried about algorithmic suppression that they make sure they avoid triggering the algorithm. And that's because
Right.
that's they're serving the algorithm instead of
Uh-huh.
serving their followers, their watchers. That's why I can't watch hardly any videos now. Like because everybody is there, they've got they don't have an alternative revenue source that pays the bills. And so that's why I want like the way that I envision First of all, one of the things I want to do first is give out like, I don't know, 100 or 200, as many as I can, like streamer packs, so people can start doing their own streaming. That's one. Because if you start somebody's business, you can also like have an ear for them when they get popular. And it doesn't matter if they fail or succeed, that's irrelevant. Like, the point is, you want to be the one who helped them get started. That way, if you see them doing something crazy, you can be like, hey, why are you doing that? They'll listen to you because they'll remember, hey, this person gave me so that's where it really starts. You have to be in at the ground level on building this whole generation. The next thing I want to do is like micro, like I had to describe like a like they have them at schools where you do like these little programs where you learn how to like in college, they give you like a scholarship to go to the school, and then you have to become like a teacher's aide or something like that. They have those for like artists. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it's that same kind of program where you bring a bunch of artists to your location, you pay them, and then basically you indoctrinate them with the way that you want them to operate their business. The left does this fantastically. No one on the right is doing this because they don't understand how this stuff works and why it's so valuable. So you bring a bunch of people in, you say, listen, I'm going to give you $10,000 a month. All I want you to do is do readings for people or paint or sing or whatever it is. And I'm going to also teach you how to make money trading on the stock market. And you say, okay, I'm paying you $10,000 a month, but I want you to take two of those $1,000 every month and put it into your account to trade. That way, if you lose it, it doesn't matter because you still got like $8,000 a month or whatever, like however much it is that will make them trade. That way, if they have an alternative revenue source going on, if somebody comes to them and says, yeah, I want to partner with you, it's going to be 2 million, 3 million. They're like, what are the terms? Because we're going to teach them that how to negotiate a contract, how to identify a contract, how to maintain yourself. Like, these are things that have to be taught. Nobody is teaching this. Nobody is even talking about this. I'm the only person I see that even cares about this. I've seen so many people, go through this process, and I'm like, there's literally nobody who maintains ownership of themselves. And it's not ownership on paper, it's literal ownership of themselves. They just literally sell their name, their body, their soul, their spirit away because they need money. Like 90% of the problems people have is with money. If you can get money into the hands of the people who need it, who are creative, who can really turn it into something or lose it all, doesn't matter to you. You have a valuable person within your realm that you maybe could use for something else. Like, I don't care if people lose the stuff, they go out and they fail or whatever. That's irrelevant. Not that I think that they will. If they know how to make money trading in any fashion, they can always make money. And they don't have to be playing the lottery and all this other stuff people do to win. Like, all you have to do is playing the stocks is playing the lottery. It's the same thing. That's why we need to, as groups of people, move into that, because it's more likely you're going to win on that than lose, especially if you know how not to blow up your account and all that stuff. So we have to really invest in building businesses. That's what I mean. This whole thing with YouTube and um, Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. That's what the IBM Eclipse Foundation did. They brought all these young people together. They said, okay, we're going to give you the source code to start your own businesses. They gave them all the source code. All these people did was take their little creative ideas and stuff that they stole, because it was mostly stolen and it was built on stolen technology. But they took all of that stuff, took it back to the little thing, did the most creative marketing they can, and they built these huge businesses. We can do that too on this side. We just have to have the same focus as the IBM Eclipse Foundation, except their focus was to kill people, and our focus will be to obviously have people become high valued, high important members of our new community that we're building, of the new world.
Yep. Beautiful. Yeah, there's Yeah, I mean, this kind of system that you're describing is like a patronage type of system, which
Yeah, patronage.
really
There we go.
these elite have not, I know they're doing it. It's not that they're not doing it,
Yes.
but it's like very weird how they're doing it. There's
No,
just
it's
a
not
lot
working.
of
It's not working because they're not bringing in new people. Their patronage system works like this. Okay, who's your mama? Who's your granddaddy? Who's your great granddaddy? Okay, you come from this bloodline. All right, I'm gonna sponsor you to do this. It's pick and choose. It's not like what I'm talking about, which is more biblical in nature, where when like this happened with Job, but this also happened with Nehemiah. Like, especially with Job, like he was anybody who came to Job, like before he lost all his wealth the first time, anybody came to Job and they were like, hey, Job, I need some money because I'm going to go and buy this stuff and sell it back to these other people or whatever. Job was giving them letters of credit. That's a whole nother thing. He was giving them letters of credit. They would take the letters of credit, go wherever they were going to try to go, try to work their business the way that they tried to. Some of them succeeded, some of them failed. The ones who succeeded, they brought back the money they said that they were going to. The ones that failed, Job pardoned them. He forgave their debt, sent the money to the king or whoever, the kingdom where the money was owed, and kept it moving. That's how it's supposed to work. People are supposed to come to you with their ideas and you decide whether you're going to give them the money or not. People still think it works that way. That's not how these elites work. They're like, okay, who's your mama? How'd you get in this door? What fraternity are you in? What sorority are you in? What church do you go to? All of this stuff. I know because I got asked these questions right before I was like, it was a pleasure to meet you. And I walked away because I'm like, why you need to know all of that? And then when I started explaining to them, or when I started explaining to them that I'm from Maryland and my grandfather worked at the Capitol and all this stuff, then they're like, oh no, we can't mess with you because I knew who I was. So a lot of times they're looking for people who really don't know who they are so that they can tell them who to be. That's is the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm looking for people who know who they are or don't know who they are, but have a desire to be something in this life, and then say, okay, look, money will solve your problem. Here's a little money. Go solve your problem. And that's it. No strings attached. No, none of this, whatever. Actually, I have a name for it and everything, like a fund that I'm just going to like use this trading to build up and just give money out to people and say, hey, if you make some money, come back and pay it back like a loan. But if not, then that's okay. Don't like stay up at it, because I've had this happen to me where I borrowed money for people or whatever, and I'm losing sleep at night because I can't, like, the business that I want to do is not working. Things are not going the way that they're supposed to, all kinds of interference, and I'm up at night. And these people never provided me any like assurances that it didn't matter. No, what they did was stress me out, allowed me to be stressed out, allowed me to fail, and then would still come back and be like, yeah, I'm still gonna need the rest of that money. Like, you see me, like, I put forth my best effort and you're still like talking about money. But yeah, that part of the system has to be put to rest, in my opinion.
yes, definitely. Awesome. Great. Yeah, so I think we'll do another follow-up to this one and actually go for
Right.
each day.
A part two.
Yeah.
A
Um
part two. That'll be good so we can actually go to this stuff. Because it's really not hard. Once you make your covenant with the creator that you're going to do this to help people experience Jubilee, and that's what your primary focus is moving forward, it'll be super easy.
Amazing. I love it. Yeah, this is awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much. And hope you have an amazing weekend. Hope everyone has a great weekend and a good night. Thank you.